Yep.
What?
Okay, very good. Welcome to episode 7 of the Gloves and Roses podcast.
Episode 7, my favorite number.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
perfect for your birthday. It's like a present
It's
to
a good
you.
luck. It's
Yeah.
good
It's
luck.
the best number.
Yeah, so this is birthday month, Scorpio season. We love our
Scorpio
Scorpios.
season.
We're going to be seeing
And
a lot of...
Sagittarius.
Oh, yeah. Those Scorpios
Wow.
and Sagittarius are going to be pumping out some babies real soon for all that birthday activity. So...
Not me. What?
Oh, yeah. Well, so...
Presumptuous.
And I guess that's an interesting point. We wanted to kind of discuss like the difference of ages, the difference of like experiences looking at life at this point in time. And
Yeah.
I mean, turning another number, just one more number to the book. But how's it feeling? How
Is that
feeling?
you trying to go around saying her age?
I don't know her age. I feel like it's an
You
invisible
should
number
not
to me.
know my age.
I pretend that I mean I don't pretend, but it's like in my heart she's my age. She's my age.
Aw, I love you.
I love you too.
I'm 49. Let's just get it out there and make it not uncomfortable.
But
okay?
spiritually, I'm 29.
But I feel like that makes sense though, because it's like you're almost 50, I'm 29, almost 30, and then it was like you're almost a fully developed brain. So
I am fully 27?
Getting there.
How old did you think I was?
No, I know you're turning 27,
Oh,
but it
okay.
was just like your frontal cortex doesn't fully develop until you're 26. But what if it takes a little bit longer? Like it's just closing the entire
She's
stage.
saying it's taking a little longer for
You
you.
know what? That's crazy. If they're saying it's fully developed by 26, it doesn't start to be fully developed at 26.
Well, here's
It's
what I can
supposed-
say. Congratulations, at 27, you're officially starting to die.
Yeah,
I'm
What?
kidding.
it's ROI.
Yeah.
Return on interest?
Investment.
Return-
So
I'm trying!
So it's technically like everything's growing, right? Everything's still developing. But at 27, your body is like, we're just maintaining the ship now, man. Like, we're not getting any older. Like, you know what I mean? Things aren't technically
Deteriorating.
growing.
You're not
You mean-
growing. You're
You're
flatlining
you're
for a little bit.
And then the
then you're
decline.
gonna
I
go-
do not like the word flatlining. Wow, you whistle good. That made me feel a little bit better, thanks. If you were whistling while I'm declining in my beauty and my skin cells, I wouldn't mind.
Let me tell you a secret.
Please.
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai?
Muay Thai keeps you young.
Oh, I thought it
Yeah,
helped you
Muay Thai.
whistle. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
Muay Thai helps you whistle.
What the fuck is in these cough drops? I feel dumb as shit.
We're over here eating cough drops for fun. We don't even have a cough.
Yeah, and the menthol is just...
Producer Saley needed one, and before you know it, she got robbed.
Yeah. You guys are doing this for the taste? I actually fucking need this shit. Evilly laughs at her pain.
I guess this is like a true adult candy. It's cough drops.
It has health benefits and it tastes good.
Mature.
So at almost 50, are you hitting a midlife crisis? Do you think that you have to hit a midlife crisis to turn 50?
Not to turn 50. I think everybody has a midlife crisis. I definitely am living my midlife crisis era.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, you know, but I can't compare myself to anyone else because I started my life so young. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was a mom at 18. So when we were at the peak, we were like 23 years old. We had a house, we had cars, we had 2 babies. We were living the 40-year-old life at 23. So I'm technically about 98 now.
I was gonna say dog years, but what is that in
I don't
teenage
know,
mom
actually.
years?
Well, my kids are grown adults. I am at the stage in my life where I am officially like possible grandma age,
Yeah.
which is so weird. My grandkids are not gonna call me grandma, by the way.
What are they gonna call you?
Call me
Nana?
mama. Call me coach. I don't care. Just don't call me grandma.
Why is that? Is it like a psychological effect, or is it just because you have a negative association with
Because
grandmothers?
you're too young.
I have a complex about being old because in my brain I've always been the baby.
Mm-hmm.
When I started working in advertising, I was the baby. I was 18 years old, and I just was always like the youngest one, and then now I'm the oldest one. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to feel old. So my kids can call me mama. My grandkids can call me mama.
What?
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say that's like, but you having kids so young, does that get you excited about the possibility that you could be a great grandmother someday? Which I feel like not a lot of people can even say I've met my great grandmother anymore.
That's true.
Right? Is that exciting for you?
Because you got started so early.
But then what would
It's
you be
just
like,
when-
Gigi? Gigi?
Why
Right, Grandma?
I don't want to think about this, guys. I just turned 49.
My kids having kids.
Yeah.
It's weird
Like-
because I'm like on the other side of that where I feel like I am like the youngest in my group and I want to be older because I feel like everyone else, I feel like not like talks down to me, but I want to be held at the level that I think
You want to be equal?
Yeah. And so I always wanted to come off as older and already be older. I want to be already in my 40s, know who I am, have my kids.
No child.
Yeah. I'm in a rush. Yeah, for sure.
Relax, calm, relax. You don't want
I'll get there soon.
live your life, right? Live your life. Live your life because I don't remember. I've had a very blessed life, but I remember hitting 21 and now I'm here.
Yeah.
It just flew by. It just flew by. Now I have adult children that are thankfully older than I was when I had kids, but they're like at that childbearing, make a family, start a family age.
Is that what you're talking about your midlife era crisis is? It's kind of like the empty nesting?
Yes,
Okay.
extremely empty nesting, and I'm in a time. I'm in a really strange part of my life because I've never been alone all my life. Like I went from my family to having a family,
Yeah.
and now my kids are going off and having their own families, and now I'm kind of like, whew, what do I do with my time? You know. So it's. I think a lot of it has to do with empty nesting. I'm really close to my kids.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I wake up in the morning and I miss them, you know? And it's just, but I really think that all parents go through it. I think, I'm pretty positive my parents are going through it now. But, like,
Why? Why now?
well, happy birthday, Dad. It's his 80th birthday today.
Hey! Happy
Wow,
birthday.
another Scorpio?
Yep.
Wow. Wow, a lot of birthdays this month. Wow.
Lots of birthdays. But, you know, now they're grandparents. And all of me and my brother and sister, I mean, although I live here in Vegas, I'm really busy. So I don't see them a lot. And my brother and sister live in, like, Oregon and Washington. And, you know, it gets kind of lonely. So I get it. I kind of get it, you know. But I guess for me, midlife crisis in my situation is just kind of figuring out who I am now. And I have a really strange story because I was young when I had my kids, so I grew up really fast. But I grew up with my kids, so I feel younger than I am.
Yeah.
I'm also, my career or like my hobbies surround me with a lot of younger people. Mm-hmm. So I'm very in with that young crowd. But the bonus is I'm in with the young crowd, but wise enough to be not young stupid.
Facts.
Yeah.
You know?
It's always good to have someone like that in the group because it's like more of like a mentor too, where it's like you can have fun and be relatable and we can get along. But it's like if like life is hard or if like someone's telling you no, you shouldn't drive when you've been drinking, no, you shouldn't go and date that guy again. Maybe don't call him. You know, someone who's had that insight. That's always great. I think that's why I'm like drawn to older people too. Like all my friends are like way older than me because it's like, I don't know. It just that security. I think that someone's always looking out for me or they have all this experience. It's like nothing's wrong with young people. I think people can be mature at whatever age, but yeah, I just respect adults.
Having that elderly like perspective or just like other adult voices, especially like while you're growing up, it allows a lot more diversification in like how your thoughts are. Like you're not just getting one opinion from one source. Like just for example, your parents. If you only grew up with the two major adult influences in your life being your parents, it's like you're probably gonna think a lot like your parents. But if you had uncles and aunts and like from both sides of the family, you hung out with your grandpa, your great grandma, and you hear like the multi-generational stories, I think that also adds a lot of like just expands your worldview. Mm-hmm. And it's like even if you can't travel to other countries, like talking and hearing these lives from other people and like what did they endure? What was that country like during that time? Like what was America like during the 50s? I think that it helps you with like gratitude, but then also having perspective of like planning for the future of just like someday I will be your age. And I think that for a lot of us that don't grow up with older people in our lives, we kind of dissociate from wanting to think about the future, like someday that we will be old, and we just forget that that's even a possibility for our lives, you know?
That's me.
Is that you?
Yeah. I never knew there was like an anxiety about being older until now. Like I just have this like I don't want to get old. But also like I said, I'm in a really weird stage. It's not necessarily the most common thing, but like now that my kids are grown, I'm doing a lot of things that I didn't get to do when my kids were little because I was busy being a provider, a mom, you know. So like
You gotta be careful with that stuff though. That's the time when people be getting like sports cars, cheating on their wives. They start like going. I'm saying he because I'm being sexist right now, but I'm thinking like when men have those like midlife crises, they always go out and act like a 20-year-old and want to date a younger woman and all this stuff because you like sacrificed your childhood basically, and that's what it kind of sounds like. But you're doing it in a mature fashion. It doesn't sound like you're doing anything too crazy.
I mean I traveled internationally for the first time.
Where'd you go?
Korea. Went to Korea with a couple of friends, and then one of my New Year's resolutions was to just go to as many live music events as possible.
You've been doing a really good job about that. Good job. And every time I see you, I feel like, yeah, I just went to a concert. I got one next tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a question. So, like, what if you guys were to turn back time and like ask your younger selves a question, or to tell your younger self something, what would you tell your younger self if you could go back in time?
Mine's like super introverted, but it is always going to be a guaranteed good time if you stay home by yourself and read your books rather than risk going out to a party where you will probably that is my advice. Stay home more. Don't go out. Don't go hang out with like strangers or go to parties. Like just stay home. That's my advice. Because every time as an adult, like I will. Oh, sorry, you guys aren't relating to this, but I'm my favorite company,
and I guess that's valid. It's like
Yeah.
it's a personal process, like whatever that you feel like now that you're older, you can reflect back on. Like that specifically for me is what I needed.
Yeah, just all the times I'd go out and just like the night, if something was telling me just don't go out, and you force yourself to go out, you're gonna be social, go like live, and the cops would be involved, like fights would happen, breakups would happen, friends would be lost. It's just like nothing good happens, I think, with drinking and when you're out past 9 o'clock. That's like my big thing.
I mean,
for
but
me.
maybe we should rephrase that. Maybe just saying like no parties, because I feel like the parties, like you should go out. You should go out and like if you're, for example, like a university student, go study at a cafe. You'll meet other students. Go out to the library, like that. You'll meet other like-minded people that just want to focus on the things they're supposed to be focused on.
I should be more
so
specific.
like,
yeah, don't do
right.
drugs and don't excessively drink. Maybe that's the advice I'm looking for.
Yeah, just maybe like stay away from anything that you can be addicted to. I was like, I think that's a very good advice, like especially when you're younger. But I think that where you're at today, like you don't really live your life by any addictions. Like you're not really haunted by any addictions, and so I think that maybe
it was like.
Is that the best advice you could give your younger self? Like, what else could you really have like derived
No, for real.
from that?
It was the lack of self-confidence I had that alcohol and drugs gave me that made me turn toward it. Like I think to go out and like be around people and like who I was at the time, and it was so young. Like it's so hard when you're young to like who you are because you don't even know who you are. You're trying to like become that person.
So maybe instead of like saying like instead of partying, because I think that it like your generation, like we're very fortunate because
like
we are married
or something just like every phase of where I'm at right now. I always feel like I want to just be something different than I am, or I'm pushing to be someone else, and I should just I don't know. Love every version of myself as I go, but it's like I'm always like looking back at the past, cringe, or
But I
could have done better.
It feels like a little, because I know you so well. It feels a little bit like that deeper causes of like what younger self really needed to know was like I feel like you're kind of missing the objective around it, I guess. I mean, I guess, like, for me, like, I almost feel like the advice I would give to your younger self, because I'm your older sister, like, that's what's kind of, like, in my mind. I'm going to go back in time and lecture you. But I think that, like, younger people, for example, like, in nowadays, like, for you to be saying, like, not to go out, like, a lot of younger people are struggling with loneliness. A lot of young males are struggling to date. Like, it's hard to be single, and you see online why people are on Tinder or Hinge and paying for these services, like, but I think that you have to take risks when you're young. And it was like, don't tell yourself not to go out, not to try to make new friends, not to try to, like, overcome new things.
No,
like,
but my thing is, if you want to stay home, don't push yourself to go out. If I want to stay home, I should have just stayed home.
Maybe that's the advice.
I
Then.
should
Be
have
like telling your younger self, like, love yourself. You're exactly perfect as you are. You don't need to please anybody else.
Literally, there's so many things right now in this short conversation, like there's so many things younger Sabrina should know and have done differently. So many things.
That's pretty bad.
So yes to all of this. Yes to everything I said. Yes to everything you said. What about you?
Yeah, coach.
What would be my advice? Oh, let me think way back. Actually, I think I would advise myself to relax a little bit more, enjoy moments more. And personally, I spent a lot of time pissed off growing up. And I wasted so many years of my life being angry. For what?
At everyone? Just people, things, road rage?
It didn't matter. It was like I just had a really bad temper and anger management, and which stems from a lot of different things. But if I can go back in time and tell myself, young coach, I'd be like, look, you gotta relax. Like, you're wasting so much time being upset that you remember more upset times than you remember the great times.
Yeah.
And I think I would just tell myself to relax a little bit. And then I would probably also tell myself, stop seeking validation.
Ooh, that's a
Like,
good one.
that's
That's a really good one.
Yeah, these are really fitting that you're saying this because who you are, I'm like, wow, yeah, you already fit all that. You're so calm and so like, you don't seem angry at all. And
The demon.
I am getting like the best side of you always on Sunday mornings. You're
Actually-
well fed. You're like,
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm 49 years old. You're gonna learn as you go, but I'm far from where I want to be. I know where I need to be, but I'm definitely not who I was 5 years ago. I'm
Thank God.
definitely not who I was 10 years ago.
yeah.
It's growth, and I think you said something earlier about learning to love yourself, every version of yourself. I've never really done that. I need to do that. So
It's really hard.
It's very hard.
Because me and her sister, Ate, Elizabeth. It sounds like a cuss word. What do you call her? You call her
I call her Rose.
Rose? Okay. Yeah, we were just having a conversation about that, like, because I just feel like it was like a whole dad conversation. I'm not going into the details, but it was like, you need to forgive yourself. And that's the thing about loving the past is like forgiving her for all the shitty, embarrassing stuff she did that like keeps you up in the middle of the night. Yeah, and that's like the hard part. It's
Yeah.
easy to say and great to think about, because she was only 14, 15, and you wouldn't hold a stranger to those standards. But yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah.
I think that mine would just be to like, it's okay to fail often, and if you are failing, that means you're learning.
Yeah. That's
So,
a good one.
Yeah, and I think that, like, for me, like, growing up, because I was, like, a straight-A student, like, I had a dragon mother, like, I didn't want to fail, and especially being...
What's a dragon mother?
You said that yesterday too, and I forgot to ask you what the fuck that was.
So as an example of what a dragon mother is, because it's very hard to define in the Asian community, but it's like, as an example story, I was in 2nd grade, we just started reading chapter books. My mom put a 6th grade book in front of me, Trumpet and the Swan, and she, just in trying to read the very first paragraph, I started crying because it was very frustrating. And so my mom was yelling at me, you can read this, get through the paragraph. And so I would start over and over and over again, trying to read from the beginning to like the very end. And basically, like, my mom got so frustrated with me that she like left the room and closed the door. And so I sat there crying, and like and instead, like most kids, I feel like they would have just like gone to bed and been like, fine, like she's not looking at me anymore, I can just fold. For me, I was just like, I still sat there and forced myself to figure it out, and then eventually I figured it out and I could read it. And it was
Holy
like, but
shit.
so like
I
when
did
you
not
talk
know
about
that story.
yeah, so talk about having like a dragon mother or just like not wanting to fail, and then also not wanting to be outwards about showing your failures. I think that when you actually say like, yeah, I tried that, didn't work, it's like that kind of confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
And acceptance of like the things that you can do and the things you can't do. Like, just because you fail, it's like you're learning a new limitation of your abilities or whatever. So it's just a learning process, and I think just offering yourself kindness as you're growing.
Yeah.
It's like, let yourself fail. It's okay.
Yeah. You got to give yourself permission to if you wouldn't be where you're at now if you didn't make mistakes.
Facts.
Like, mistakes are not really mistakes if you're learning from them. They
Like,
just
think
meant
of-
to happen.
Like every single ex, like I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like I wouldn't tell my past self like, oh, don't date these people because they'll break your heart. It was just like I'm grateful that I met all of them and that I went through what I went through because I wouldn't be who I am and date how I
I'm
date
sorry,
today.
I'm
You
just
know?
thinking about the Ariana Grande song "Thank You Next."
Oh,
yes,
thank you.
yes. Well, that's when you're like, I think, healthy in your breakups and stuff. I honestly am not at that stage. I would be so happy if I had never met any of my exes ever. They had never been born. I did not need them to get to where I am. If anything, they held me back. This has always been who I was supposed to be.
And that's like the SZA song.
SZA?
Yeah, like she wrote a song called Kill Bill. Kill
Oh, the-
my ex.
Is that the
Kind of. It's
Yeah,
well, that's what Kill Bill is, but
Yeah.
but the song Kill
I'll
Bill.
show you. It's a really good song. If
It's
you
a
haven't
good
heard
video.
it is a really good video. I'm glad that she
You guys
stuck
are
to
such
it.
MTV children. It's a great video. I never watch the videos for like music. I always just like put it on and then I'm like driving.
MTV hasn't played videos since I was 8.
Well,
No,
no, 'cause you
I'm
guys-
just joking.
Damn, so it didn't even play when you were a kid?
No, I was watching VH1 in the morning. I didn't like MTV.
Alternative.
Yeah, VH1, like Maroon 5 when they had "She Will Be Mine" for 14 weeks straight, #1 record.
I remember. You know how old I am? I remember when MTV aired.
Dang.
Oh.
I remember when MTV aired, and they really did only play music videos.
Before
That's so
TVs had
cool.
remotes, is that? Well, I don't know.
We're going to talk after this podcast.
Oh my god, my ass.
I think I'm really offended right now.
Wait, no shit, really? Fuck. Wait, I'm
I
scared.
know about freaking remotes, okay?
No, but did your TV when you were a kid have a remote? I hate myself right now.
Yes.
Yes, all right. The phones didn't exist. I don't know.
Did you ever live in a household with a knob TV? We've never experienced the knobs.
Oh,
have you ever
yeah.
experienced a black and white TV with 2 knobs, antennas, and you had to put
Antennas.
Antennas.
Carlos
you had to
antennas.
put foil on the antenna to get better reception?
Oh my god.
I do remember the rabbit ears and putting tinfoil on them, but I never had the knobs on it.
I
It was
don't
still
remember
just
the
push
tinfoil.
button.
I had this,
Got
this
tinfoil.
black
Yeah.
and white TV from the flea market.
And you were so fucking proud of that TV.
Hell yeah, I was missing a knob, so I had long nose pliers, and I was like,
Hey, yeah, I
And you
heard
know
about
what's
that.
even more messed up? Okay, I was around when Nintendo first came out, the #1 Nintendo. We were playing freaking Nintendo on a black and white TV.
Whoa.
So when we're playing Double Dragon and you're the blue guy and your sister's the red guy, we don't know how do you know what's what?
That makes, if you think about
I don't even
Pong-
know what the fuck that game is.
I'm just thinking about Pong. I'm like, that's why it's black
I
and
didn't-
white. It's
Oh
literally
my
just
goodness.
shapes.
Pong is actually, I mean, it was during my time, but it was for my older cousins.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
it
got
was
the
passed
true
down
OGs.
to you?
I was definitely the first Nintendo.
So you were marked by Nintendo. I was PlayStation 1. So I was like, the
Oh,
PlayStation
no.
1 was the first console I ever had. I was 7.
No, Game Boy. Wasn't it Game Boy that we got? That was the first one we got.
Oh yeah, we did
Yeah,
get
Game Boy Cube. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we were in the Philippines, my dad sent us a Game Boy, and then our cousin stole it, and we never saw it again.
God dang it.
Wait, you mean in the
Yeah.
no our cube?
Oh, not the GameCube, but like Dad sent. Okay, so when we were in the Philippines, Dad would send us like there's a whole complicated story for why we were in the reason or why we were the reason why we were in the Philippines for 3 years as children and why my dad was not with us. So my dad would send us toys, and one of them was like
you're
a Game Boy.
abandoned or adopted or something.
You guys are refugees.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it. So
That's
like
another
the-
podcast.
The handheld?
yeah, so it's like the handheld like Game Boy,
Mm-hmm.
like the OG Game Boys, and so he sent a couple games with it, but then as it is in some households, it was stolen, and I never saw it again. But you know what? I wasn't even sad about losing the Game Boy and having that stolen. I had a can of spray paint that I loved, and they stole my spray paint.
Dad-
Of all the things to steal from me.
Why
Did Dad ship you spray paint?
No,
Why would you
I
have
like
spray-
I was
Yeah.
Were you
because
huffing?
no,
Yeah,
because-
seriously, at 5 years old, however
No,
old you were?
because they just like I don't know, dude. It's a farm. They just have a bunch of stuff around, and like I wanted to find the things that no one would try to steal from me, right? Because it's junk. There's plenty of other cool toys and things and anything else you could play with. I found an empty, like an abandoned bottle of spray can because you can
Gosh.
shake it.
You know,
and
I feel
and
bad
I probably
because-
wanted to just like maybe there's a little bit of blue that came out still. And I
Yeah.
still just wanted to do the blue everywhere.
Oh,
but-
you were so artistic, Ate.
Anyways.
Very, what is it, Andy Warhol? Is he the one who does all the colors?
No, I was a young Banksy.
You're a young Banksy.
Gosh, you know,
I'm a spray paint artist myself.
Oh, dude, I was too.
yeah, you're so smart and cool, Coach.
I wish they
You
did
did that so sly.
I would have loved to see some of the photos of like your artwork because like then the other thing too is I feel like
Was it actually
street art. Street art has developed over time.
Is it just your gang
I
name?
believe it's art, bro. You put time and thought into like, how am I gonna do this image, this brand logo in 5 seconds and not get caught?
Wait, were you actually doing art?
No. Graffiti is an art.
No,
is,
it's
bro.
only if you're not doing names. If you're drawing pictures and stuff.
Word
I
art,
used
bro.
to do
Word
that.
art.
I wouldn't call myself an artist though, because now I have real artist friends, and when I think about my stuff, I'm like,
Stick figure.
yeah. It's like, woo, boy, you sure did have good for you for having the confidence you did to even actually show people that.
You showed people? Like, you would take them, like some guy you're talking to, let me just show you my artwork down here by this broken bridge.
Well, when I was in high school, I had friends that were like, I was the only girl in our little crew.
Bunch of skaters, and then here's Coach.
With a backpack full of spray paint.
Wait, how'd you get it, though? Because was it back then you didn't have to be 18?
Well, we got alcohol and cigarettes back then, too.
California's a
You-
different place.
but you-
Yeah. Was it like
you
homeless
find
people
ways-
that you were buying it? Like
I used to ask bums to buy me 40 ounces of beer, yes.
And they would?
Of course.
And you'd have to pay them on top, though, and get or
You
buy them
just
a
do-
beer?
I'm like, here's like $5, get me a 40 and get yourself one.
Boom.
A 40 was only $2.50.
40.
Yes, a 40 ounce of beer was $1.99 if you got St. Ides.
That's crazy. I think this was like $2.50 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, inflation. It's so depressing. That's part of my midlife crisis.
Dude, I know. Like, isn't that a weird way to measure like age? Is like and time passing is
when-
inflation. Like milk used to cost 10 cents.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit.
I remember when gas was
No.
75 cents. No, I do remember when gas was still in the dollars though.
Yeah.
Damn, you lucky. Well, I guess
That's
pay was a
crazy.
lot lower too, so maybe it all
Oh, man,
averages.
I was an assistant manager at Lady Foot Locker, and I was balling making $6 an hour. No,
It's such a
$6.50.
crazy concept now, and now it's $20. It's such a crazy
that's the
concept.
minimum wage,
I
yeah.
heard the other day of a guy who, like, he's a multimillionaire now, but he was talking about, like, you know, when I first started off as like a janitor or whatever at 15, he was paid like $3 an hour. So like from $3 to your $6 to $20 today, I'm like, I'm just crazy, dude.
That's a lot of
Wow.
That's a big
I
job.
was balling. I was an assistant manager. I was getting.
When you were that young, what were you spending your money on? Like, what did you just more
I had,
shoes?
I had kids.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh.
I had a daughter.
So
So I was
that's
buying
your
her
first
the-
job.
So
playing
your
with
kids, when you raised them, was it kind of like one pair of shoes
So,
per school
no.
year? Oh,
The first kid, because I was 18. Okay.
That's how you know that,
We
that's privilege, low key. That we got a new pair of shoes every year. And it's unfortunate to make that sound like
Every
privilege,
year.
but
Oh no, I was a sneakerhead. So my daughter, I would buy. So if I bought some like shoes, my baby got the same exact shoes in little
oh
miniature
fucking
size.
no! You're one of those parents.
Yeah, I was
The
that
kid doesn't
parent.
even walk, and it's
Yeah.
got fucking Timberlands.
I swear to God, I swear. Like I still have her shoe in my. Oh, it's not my son's shoe in my office.
That's so
can you send
sweet.
pics of like you matching with your baby's shoes?
Yeah, I can. I have a pic
I
of
wanna
me and
see
my
these
daughter
pics.
I wanna
somewhere.
see that, yeah.
There's a pic of me and my daughter, and we're wearing like Adidas snap pants and a black sweatshirt, both of us. And she's small enough to be standing on the table next to me. And we're
like
wearing
a doll. Oh my
we're
God.
wearing okay, back in the day Grant Hill was a good basketball player. But we were wearing Fila Grant Hills. Why we were wearing with Adidas snap pants, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, we were matching, but
You
hey,
thought you were cool. You thought you were cool.
we had my first daughter had, you know, Jordan. She had because I was a sneakerhead, and then my son came, and he was so content, and I was so happy with little Payless Scooby Doo's,
Yeah, the legendary Scooby Doo Payless shoes.
the Scooby Doo Velcros.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, my kids, we spoiled our kids. I always had they always had a lot of shoes. They always had
clothes, hats.
Maybe when they got a little bit older, it started to get a little bit more.
Because they were growing so fast, huh?
They were going fast, and food was more important than buying new clothes all the time.
Hell
I
yeah!
have a question because like I know my coworker, she's in her 40s. She's got 4 daughters, and with her 2 youngest ones right now, like they're in their like kind of like developing teen years. One's 14 and one is 19. And so she's trying to figure out is like for people of that age that are really into brands and like looking a certain way, because like for example when you're a little kid and you see everybody running around with the light up shoes, you're like I want light up shoes.
Yep.
You go to college, everyone's wearing Jordans. I want Jordans.
Now
How
it's
do
like
you-
all the kids want those fucking, what are those expensive ass water bottles The
Oh,
Stanleys.
Yeah, the Stanleys.
Yeah, now that's the thing. Every high school kid has a collection of goddamn Stanleys. So stupid.
But I mean, but how do you kind of like? Is there anything you can do to kind of raise an awareness of like don't compete with everyone? Like, how did you kind of encourage your kids to just allow themselves to be okay with who they are?
I can tell you we've had talks, but it's kind of hard for that conversation because you want your kid to feel like they're part of the cool crowd, you know what I mean? You don't want your kid to be the like...
Because they have no confidence, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want your kid to be and I know this happened a couple times too, and it breaks my heart every time I think about it, but you don't want your kid to be...
Alone at lunch.
Sitting in this bathroom stall eating their sandwich, you know what I mean? Like, but the kids, I don't know. Like, I'd have to ask my kids how they felt. I'm sure they all have their, you know, their feelings about it. But, like, my kids seem pretty okay. My daughter, I think she had a little bit, she might have, I'm not going to say that because my son would probably be like, no, that's not true. I don't know. I don't recall having a lot of, like, too many of those, like, talks. There was a lot of things going on. I don't know if my kids were internalizing it or not. But, you know, we tried to keep the kids up with the times, you know?
Yeah, no, I get that. I think that, like, for example, like when everybody was getting an iPhone, and I was like, but if you even had a cell phone, there were kids that didn't have cell phones, and so that
my
was
daughter
a weird
didn't get
time
her cell
also.
phone until she was, like, in 7th grade.
You know, I never even realized, like when I was growing up, like, my parents got me, like, a little, like, $25 MP3 player, but everyone came back after Christmas break with iPods. I didn't even notice there was an issue until someone had made fun of my MP3 player. What is that?
Kids are brutal, man.
I had, like, a pair of knockoff, they looked like Vans, but they were from Fallas Paredes,
Yeah.
whatever, and I didn't even, you know, see the issue with it, and no one even said anything, and so now when I look back on it, I'm like, oh, those, you know, they wore out super fast, obviously they were cheap,
kids are brutal, man.
yeah,
Like,
it was
kids are
that was the
brutal.
only time I ever felt, like, weird, and then I think my friend group too, it was like you kind of got like naturally segregated with kids that were kind of likeness.
Yeah.
You know, they don't wear name brand. We don't care about name brand. You know, we're not like showing. Yeah.
You know what's the worst part is when you go to a Catholic school for all like 8 years of your life, and then you go to a public high school, and you don't know how to dress.
Yeah.
And
Yes, when I got to
Can
high school,
relate.
I only had collared shirts from my middle school. Cause
Yeah.
I
Oh my
had like
God.
only 5 shirts, and I remember I was
yeah,
like,
I had 2 pairs of jeans.
Yeah.
And I had some buddies, like, there were these sweatshirts that we used to wear called IOU sweatshirts. They were very...
They sound cool, but like...
They were very, like, the thing back then, in the 90s. And I remember I had 2 IOU sweatshirts that weren't even mine. I didn't buy them. I borrowed them from somebody and never gave them back. And then I remember having, like,
That's so
2
ironic
pairs
because
of
they're
jeans.
IOU. That's so ironic.
Yeah.
And, like, I just felt... Like, my freshman year, I felt... Like, I didn't want to be out in the yard. I didn't want to be... I was really quiet. I was really quiet. I was really timid.
You say yard like it's prison.
That's what I was thinking. It was
Yeah,
like...
it was...
That's what
was
they called it. They
prison.
called it the yard for you guys. Ours was called the quad.
No, it's the
Ours
yard.
was the quad, too.
Ours was the yard. I went San Francisco.
Or the
man.
field.
Jesus,
The
yeah, the
field?
field, yeah.
No, it was the yard.
Fuck, I
Dude,
wonder
it was
if
like
they
high
rebranded
schools in the city are literally prisons.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But, like, I hid in the band room my first year.
Oh, that's so peaceful.
Sad though.
I
It's
hid in the
sad. It
piano
was
room.
sad. And then I got into my first high school fight. And then all of a sudden I started, like, being a little bit more confident. Because I was a target. I was quiet. I was small. I had glasses.
Yeah.
And there was this, like, group of cool girls. You know.
The mean girls.
One of them just decided that I was gonna be the target that day. And I remember it clearly I was eating a pizza. It was lunch. And I remember handing my pizza over to somebody and being like,
hold my earrings, hold my pizza.
I was like, look, well, let's freaking go, you know? And after that, after a while, people saw that, like, I was quiet, but not the one to get bullied. Because my grandfather's never let me get bullied since I was a kid. Like, I have stories on stories about that. Like, he used to call me to come out and fight boys when I was a kid because they were trying to steal my little sister's bike. So, like...
You'd be like, I can't kick a kid's ass, but you can.
That's exactly what he said. Did I tell you that story?
You did.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. And so I gained confidence over the years, and then when people, again, seeking validation, I was that kid that would do anything to get in with the in crowd. Like, go shoot that person. Sure. You know, I didn't shoot anybody.
Okay,
For example's sake.
I almost did, but
Thank
it
God
was an
they
accident.
They didn't show up that day. So.
It was yeah, I have an incident with that. Kids don't play with guns.
Like, you were actually
especially
gonna
when
murder
you're young.
someone? Like,
No, we were playing. I had a friend that had an older brother that was in that gang life, and she got a gun from him, brought it to my house, and was like, "Ooh, look, I got this gun," and then we're like, "Oh shoot, a gun," you know. And so we're like, "Let's shoot it out the backyard, the window in the backyard," and so we shoot the gun, but we know nothing about guns, and it's an automatic, so there were 2 bullets in that gun. She shot the gun. The next bullet went into the chamber, but we didn't know. I pull out the magazine and I'm like, "Hey, why is this still," like, there's a little needle poking out at the end that says it's, loaded, right? And I'm like, "Why is this still," pow! I shot a hole through my sister's freaking bed. It whizzed right through in front of my best friend's face, through my sister's bed, through our floor. Thank God nobody was home.
Whoa, yeah.
Thank God it was a small gun.
yeah,
it was like
22.
a 380. It was a little 380.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Dang.
So, like,
Who was that famous, like, basketball player or football player? And his friend brought a gun, and they were hanging out, and the friend accidentally shot himself in the face with the gun that he had got. It was some famous athlete or something, and that was, like, one of the stories he always tells about, like, he's against, like, guns.
But I think that, like, this is turning into a political conversation very quickly, because I was someone that grew up around guns, and so it was just, like, the gun education is so necessary from a young age.
Yeah, it is.
And it's, like, if you're in California where it's just, like, yeah, like, if your kid does find a gun and it's, like, you're technically not supposed to have one, technically you're not licensed in it or anything, like, there's no real protections around it. It's just, like, for the sake of kids or, like, anybody's lives, like, they are dangerous.
You know what's really scary is by the time I was 15 years old, I had my hands on 2, like, legitimate firearms.
Isn't that crazy, bro?
That's just crazy that, yeah.
And it's wait, I need to know who these came from, though. Were they just from, like, friends that also illegally acquired these guns?
I had a friend. This is actually a sad but good story.
Okay.
My best friend at the time, she grew up in a very toxic household.
Mm-hmm.
Her father was an alcoholic. And every Friday night, it was really sad. I used to, like, talk to her on the phone, and she'd always be like, "I gotta go, my dad's home," like, because he would come home drunk.
Yeah.
And he would beat up her mom, and she would get it too because she tried to protect her mom. And he had this huge revolver, like revolver. Beautiful gun, by the way. But it was like, and the older brother, the gangbanging brother, hid the bullets from him so that he couldn't kill anybody when he's in his drunken rage. Mm-hmm. Well, we weren't the best kids. Like, she was, snooping around in her parents' room, found the gun, wrapped in a towel underneath her mom and dad's bed, under the headboard, kind of. Mm-hmm. She brought it to my house, and she goes, "I don't care what you do with it. Get rid of this, because my dad's going to kill me and my mom one day if we don't." I'm like, okay, so I held on to this gun.
Jesus.
I had this gun, and then the second time was the when she brought over the gun that her brother gave her. But, like,
This poor girl.
It scares me that,
That's
I mean,
sad.
we lived in a really rough neighborhood. Like, it really scares me that, like, it was that easy to get my hands on firearms. Because especially at that age, I was literally, like, I would do anything to, like, be cool,
Yeah.
And I did take one of those firearms, walk into a party, point it right at a girl. I didn't have any bullets in it, but like, and it's not that I'm proud of that, but I'm just kind of talking about it to make people aware that, like, this is what happens with kids now. Mm-hmm. Like, you hear about kids getting, their hands on guns, and they're shooting people and doing all this stupid stuff. It's because at that age, you want so bad to be accepted.
Yeah.
And if all you're hanging around with is, like, bad kids, you're going to do bad stuff, right?
And if that doesn't scare you enough that they're going to probably kill other kids, they could probably kill you too. I just watched a video of a 14-year-old girl. She just got caught. Her mom caught or found out that she was smoking vape weed pens. So while her mom was digging through her room, she sees that her mom is in her room. She freaks out. She goes to her parents' bedroom where the mom had a gun because she was scared of the daughter's father and she thought the father would come try to hurt them. She went and got the gun, and there's a security camera in the house that records the whole thing. She goes in that room, shoots her mom 3 times in the head. Because she, like, when you're that young,
Yeah, when you're scared.
it's the end of the world. My
Yeah.
mom found my weed vape pen. I'm done for. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's so small. And she just murdered her mom. And then she called her
that's so
friend.
sad.
She called, have you heard this story?
No, I haven't.
She called her friend. She's like, I really need help. I need help. And so the friend has her dad drive her there because she thinks her friend is suicidal. She needs help. The friend gets in there, and the daughter, the one that shot her mom, is like, are you squeamish around dead bodies? And she takes her to show her what she did to her mom. And the friend's like, oh my God. She goes outside and waits on the patio because she can't take it. And the girl waits for her father to get home, her stepfather. He comes into the garage, and she just immediately starts shooting at him. And he's able to, like, wrestle the gun away from her and, lives. But it's like, yeah, they'll kill you. Like, you know.
It sounds a little bit like she also had like a little bit of psychopathic disorder too.
That's
To like
That's what she was they're trying to say in the thing, but the way it was.
but even still, like
Yeah.
even if you're a psychopath, like you could be like, Ted Bundy. I was like, you still killed him. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're mentally ill. You did it.
I will tell you this right now that, and I've had this conversation with multiple people. At that age, I'm really glad I developed into a more compassionate person. And I think that had a lot to do with motherhood. And I'm not saying this pridefully. I'm just saying the truth. At that age, I lacked compassion.
Yeah, me too.
But I wasn't a horrible person. I just grew up really rough. And so, like, I know I've done a lot of things in my life. I mean, I have my nickname for a reason. But, like, I've done a lot of things in my life where when I look back at myself then, I'm like, damn, like, you were messed up. Like, you were a messed up kid. Because, like, I can tell you right now, I was 18 when I had my daughter. I didn't like, there's no regrets. I love my daughter. But that thing about being young and scared, I didn't tell my parents I was pregnant until I was like 6.5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
My daughter came a month later. And I hear all those stories. You hear all those, like, prom night dumpster babies. Like, these kids are pregnant. They don't tell their parents. They go to prom, end up having the baby, and throwing the kid in the dumpster because I'm not saying I would do it, but I don't know if I wouldn't because it's something that you're scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't know, like, if you should, you just don't know. Like, when you're a kid and you're scared, there's certain things. Like, when I was talking about that incident, and this sounds a little gory, but I'm just being extremely transparent. The day that I, like, accidentally shot that gun, and it whizzed by literally missed my best friend's head by, like, maybe an inch, and went through the bed. There were times where I used to think, if I shot her and accidentally killed her, what would I have done? And I can honestly tell you that I might have, like, put her in the closet.
Oh my
Yeah,
God!
I'm
Oh my
serious.
God!
Yeah,
I'm serious.
it's just your kid, your
Yeah,
child
your
thinking.
child
It's just your
instinct.
kid brain.
Yeah.
Because you have a limited amount of, like, thinking capability of just, like, problem solving. You don't have that many tools to problem solve, especially if you're something like that. But.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to criminalize myself. Obviously, these things didn't happen, and I'm not overly,
You're just self-aware enough.
I'm not being compassionate to these kids that have done things like that. I'm not, but I kind of understand that,
Yeah.
because, again, you're a kid. You're not really mature enough to think about these kinds of things. Your body's natural reaction of fear is to hide things or
To fight back.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Fight
It's
or
weird.
flight. It really is. Like, you either want to run away from home,
Yeah.
or you're gonna get into a lot of fights, into a lot of trouble, and either way, it's like it's both a cry for help. You're trying to pull attention towards you because you need something as a kid that you're not able to express into words or, like, whatever it is, but you're needing of something from someone.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
definitely my situation growing up. But yeah, I don't know how we got into that. I just hope I didn't criminalize myself.
But no,
no.
because I did want to, like, expand on that topic though, because, like, there are people that do it intentionally, and then there's people that, I mean, like, your story is, like, it's unintentional, right?
Right.
It's like just kids exploring, and it's like, oh my God, like, that could have happened. But then, like, the intentionality side of it, like, I think that so many of us get convinced because, like, life is hard, and, like, like Jordan Peterson, I'm just so obsessed with this Jordan Peterson book because he even went into like the discussion of like school shootings because it's so monstrous, so evil. How does a child all of a sudden get the bone in its body to like want to exact its revenge? How does it have how can a child have so much hatred in them that they want to exact out that pain on anyone else? Even if you can't even tell through their history like where that pain came from or what it was sourced from. And you know, it just comes from like a very deep, you become convinced that reality is like evil and that the only way to kind of execute some justice in the world is by removing some of the evil as you're removing yourself from the world too. And it's not like that you think that it's making it better, it's just that there's no point in trying to make it better. And I was like, but I don't know, I think that having these conversations, it's like just that awareness that these things can happen. It was like, it's kind of taking accountability for like, yeah, this is how it is. Like, let's be very careful about it because these things can still happen. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think gun ownership's gonna go away anytime soon. So it's just trying to figure it out, like, how do we actually get educated as a country to, like, manage these things and, like, make sure it doesn't happen? Because whether it's legal or illegal in your state, it's like, there's guns. There's guns everywhere.
I mean, let's address just, like, the mental health crisis of children. I don't know. It's a good place to start.
Like, they have the loneliness epidemic. Yeah, just, the loneliness, bro. Like, people aren't talking to each other, like, going out and playing on the street. Remember we were the youngest kids on our street growing up that would actually go out and play and like ride bicycles, and now like when we go into like our nieces and nephews' neighborhoods, we know that there's kids there, but we never see them outside playing.
That's facts.
Never see them anymore.
Me and my friends sit out on a porch and we see these kids playing out in our neighborhood, and we would crack up about it's so annoying because you know you're trying to drive down the street and this kid just jets out in front of you with some roller
skates. That's their favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Or they'll be staring at you.
They just like to play.
Slowly.
Yeah. They like to play chicken. Like they're gonna live forever, right? And it gets annoying sometimes.
Or my favorite is when they make a game out of your car driving by. Let's see if we can throw the ball over the car as it drives by. I hate that one.
And so it gets annoying. But then when we're sitting down looking out there, and she says it all the time. She's like, "But I'm glad they're playing outside, though."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree because like. I think first of all, activity. I'm a big advocate for like physical activity. It's really important for your mental health.
It's part of like we're animals. We need playtime.
We need to move
Animals
around.
play. We play.
Yeah, we need that. But I feel bad about like these kids just sit in front of a like TV all day or a tablet or a video game console, and it's like. Damn, when was the last time you went out in the sun? You know, like vitamin D is important, and it's changed a lot.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with video games. Like, I'm a huge advocate, like, for video games. I think that whether you have dementia, if you have, like, PTSD from, like, being a war veteran or whatever it is, it's like playing video games, I think, is actually really beneficial for people's minds. But, for the younger generation or for kids, it's like you have to kind of create some balance to it. Because I remember for us, it was like, oh, you don't watch too much TV, right? Yeah. For us growing up. But now it's the video games, and it's like it's on your phone.
I mean, I don't think video games are like super good for your brain. I think
I will dispute.
I dispute too. I think that video games are really good for your brain if used correctly. Like, first of all, my suggestion would be like let your kids play outside. I get it. I always wonder like, was it more dangerous? Is it more dangerous now, or was it dangerous back in my day? It was. The same kind of dangerous, maybe even more, just because there were no phones. There's serial killers. Like you hardly hear about serial killers now because there's Ring. Everyone has a phone. Like it's easier to get caught. But when I was growing up, serial killers were going on sprees for like years because there was no like, Ring to catch somebody going into a house and bludgeoning somebody. You know what I mean? Like
everyone has video surveillance in their homes. So it's crazy.
Like I get it that like a lot of parents don't want their kids outside because people are just driving by and picking up kids and stuff. That happened in my day too. But I mean, let your kids go outside, supervise them, but get them out there. And then at night, like, if they're winding down and they want to play some video games, I think video games actually does, like, for me, I love puzzles.
Yeah, like Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I love
OG Tomb Raider.
Anything that makes you have to think is really healthy for your mind. Whether it be,
I guess I'm against, like, I know this. You're probably.
Well, I
don't
wanted
like
to add,
violent
I wanted to
gaming,
add
yeah.
one more fact though, that Elon Musk, like, because I was watching him on Joe Rogan, Elon Musk is ranked the number 20th player in the world in the game Diablo, and he's like, right, and so it
Yeah.
sounds crazy. Here's a multi-billionaire who still prioritizes making time to play a game that he really enjoys, and then he was even validating it on the show, saying that surgeons that play video games versus surgeons that don't play video games, the surgeons that play video games have a 25 to 30% chance of being more successful in surgery because they have much more like agility in their fingertips, but also the very fast decision making that happens by that's the fast decision making of playing a video game, and that's how like they're more successful in surgery for it.
So my thing against video games, all that stuff is great, but like pros to it. My cons, I think video games are highly addictive. I think especially young males, they'll spend hours and forever on video games, and
This is very true too.
The language that is involved and the talk,
culture,
it's horrible.
You're
and
creating beta men.
It's very racist, bigoted, sexist. Yeah, it's horrible.
Just yesterday I was playing like Call of Duty because I love Call of Duty and I've been playing since I was a little kid, and but honestly I kind of miss not playing, like hearing people's voices, because I used to play never listening to their voices, and now that I actually want to like talk and have conversations because I'm an adult now and I'm not going to get bullied for being a kid on a game. I'm like, now that I'm the only woman in a lobby, it's like, go back to the kitchen, and it's just like, dude, like,
see, and the games like that,
crazy,
I don't know,
man,
like,
it's crazy.
I don't know. It's like, and then this is me just super ignorant towards it, but this is all I see when I see someone playing like a video game like that, where it's like you're doing the same maps, it's the same repetitive motions of running around, shooting people, aiming. It doesn't feel like to me where it's a higher cognitive functioning than sitting down and like, playing a game, interacting, figuring out, doing an actual physical puzzle, like doing something like that. I think is more productive, in my opinion, because I'm not a video game player. I don't have like the bias, I think, towards it. But other games though, like puzzle games and stuff, I can totally see that.
I love Tetris. I love Block Blast. I love stuff like that.
Or games where there's like a campaign mode where there's actually a storyline you're following.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I can get around, but it's like that repetitive, short form, addictive like style of gaming that I'm not a fan of.
We play together, and there's a strategy to ours.
Yeah, we play mobile Call of Duty together.
Oh, that's the one Sally's addicted to, huh?
Yeah.
The three of us play.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it for the longest time, but your sister was like, you gotta get on this, coach. And I'm like...
And now she likes it.
And now I'm like, oh, you guys, like, I updated my phone and my app dropped, so I had to, like, remake my stuff. And they're like, we need your handle so that we can play.
Like,
so
where are you?
We're on there, and we play 4 or 5 games, and then I hear your sister go, I'm getting tired now. I'm like, bye. So and I'm still running around shooting people and stuff like that. But there's pros and cons to it. I think that you just need to regulate the time that your kids are on it. And I think you should never replace outside time or, like, physical activity.
It shouldn't be the only thing you're doing for entertainment.
Correct.
Or you can't make video games like the number one source of like dopamine or like excitement in your life. Like if you're
I love this compromise. Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
like
because you guys do it super healthy. That's why I'm never on you guys about like your gaming, because you do it like
like
Ma!
Sabrina.
Nagarella.
Ma, leave me alone, Ma!
I just got off work. Let me COD. Is that how you guys? Is it COD? Is it a verb?
I am not gonna claim.
No,
to
I'm
be,
in a game.
Oh,
I'm not gonna claim to be like a gamer, but I was very excited to tell my coworker when I went to Philly for my last work trip. I'm like, so I'm playing like Call of Duty, on my phone with my friends, and he goes, "It's COD," and I was like, "It's what?" He goes,
never heard it
you have
before?
to call it COD. No, I used to play Call of Duty back in the day when it first started, but like I've never been like a gamer. I just played. Like we used to have a bunch of people. As soon as we got that Nintendo 64 and you could plug 4 controllers into thing, everyone was at our house. We were running around shooting each other on that GoldenEye James Bond.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Fun.
That was a good one.
You gotta search for each other and shoot each other.
That was the first game I played on the PlayStation also. It was a good game.
It was a good game.
I'm trying to imagine the graphics from
it was not very good.
Yeah.
They were just a lot of like kind of very much boxies.
Yeah. Imagine
boxy
it like
people.
2D.
They didn't really have
where it's,
faces.
Like, the map is just moving sideways still. You're not like moving.
That was like Nintendo when double dragon that you never heard about. It's like back in the day, you were playing 2 players and you'd run to the end of the screen, but it wouldn't move because this butt face is over here, like holding you up, and you're like, hurry up, hurry up, and you're like trying to get to the, and this guy, like this invisible guy is like knocking you out because this fool back here is holding you up. I go, hurry up, I'm getting hit, hurry up.
Oh my gosh, you're right, because we're so spoiled now. It just zooms out the screen.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
Move on.
I don't know.
We could.
We really could.
We could be on this forever, and we should actually make this another podcast
Yeah, we
topic.
could continue to go into depth about it. But yeah, I think that we're coming up close to an hour now.
Are we?
Yeah, we really are.
Time flies when you're having fun.
No,
No way.
shooting the shit with some good friends.
Arguing about
Asian video games.
We'd probably spend like 30 minutes. That's probably the whole time of it. Cause just I feel like every time I'm arguing, the time goes by so fast. I love arguing.
You want to argue?
I thought we were arguing.
I guess as closing comments, producer Saley did want to add that if she had one thing she could tell her younger self, she wished that she could tell her to buy more Bitcoin and never sell. So,
When did she have the chance to tell you that?
we've been talking about like the prompt of just like, what would we tell our younger selves? Like, for a
Oh,
while now.
younger self? How younger are you? Bitcoin just started not
Be
that long ago.
Listen, when it comes out, you're gonna buy all of it, and you're never gonna sell.
Wait till what is it? How old was I in 2008? I would have been 10 years old. Buy a house in 2008 when the houses are super cheap. Buy many of them.
Buy a
Plenty
house
of
at
them.
10 years old when you don't even have a
Yes.
job, a credit score.
You will thank me later. You're welcome. All right, that's it.
All right, yeah, that's it, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.